This is a DIY smart display you can build yourself. It's just the time and weather, runs on a Raspberry Pi, installs under a cabinet, and best of all, doesn't need a touchscreen, voice assistant, or an app. It just hangs there and gives you the information you actually want at a glance. And the reason this exists is because of this thing. When I bought my house about 10 years ago, it came with this under cabinet clock that's just sort of there. It has a radio I've never used, and therefore dials and buttons I've never touched. It is tucked out of the way, which is nice, but still in a perfect spot to check the time. That works great until the power goes out or daylight savings times hit and I have to remember how to change the time again. And honestly, I'm just tired of it. So I decided to make my own. And I promise you can make one too. Yeah, this is a DIY under cabinet smart display built around a Raspberry Pi and a wide, affordable screen. It shows the time and the weather. It's always on, and it replaces the old clock without turning my kitchen into a touchscreen control panel. Before we build it, I want to explain why I designed it this way. A lot of smart home displays lean hard into touchscreens and voice control or companion apps. I didn't want any of that. I wanted something glanceable, something that is always on and doesn't require any interaction. I don't know about you, but I don't want to talk to my kitchen clock, and I don't want to mess with tapping its screen. I just want to look at my kitchen clock and then continue on making coffee. This new DIY clock gives me the time and the weather, and then it gets out of the way, which is just perfect. My favorite part of this project is the visuals, the icons and the optional backgrounds. With a couple of simple terminal commands, you can swap out the weather icons and even add a background image. The default icons are clean and classic, but I admit I may have had a little too much fun making other styles. Some are playful, some are bold, some are just different enough to make the display feel like it belongs in your home instead of looking like a leftover appliance from the early 2000s. I've been refining the hardware and software for a few months now, and I'm genuinely happy with how it turned out. So let me show you how to build one. The hardware for this Raspberry Pi powered smart display is pretty straightforward. You need, of course, a Raspberry Pi, an SD card for the operating system and code, a long power cable, a display cable with a right angle adapter so everything fits cleanly, and the display itself. The display is a long horizontal screen originally designed to live inside a PC case as a system monitor. I wanted something bright, with decent resolution and affordable, and this checked all those boxes. The bigger issue was the ports were in a really awkward location out of the box. So the first thing I did was remove the display from its casing, which is just held on with some screws. That made the screen thinner and let me reposition the ports towards the back of the clock where they actually make sense. Then there's the 3D printed case. This took more iterations than I expected. I went through several designs before landing on one that matched the footprint of the original under cabinet clock while looking more modern and colorful. The case can be printed in whatever color or material you like, and yes, I'm making the file available for free. If you don't have a 3D printer, check out your local library to see if they have one. They could probably get it printed for you. Once the hardware is ready, setting up the Raspberry Pi is surprisingly simple. On a Mac or PC, you can use Raspberry Pi Imager to flash the operating system onto the SD card. After that, everything happens in terminal. I put all of the setup work into a single script, so you don't have to manually install dependencies or configure things one by one or any of that. You download the script from the GitHub project, run it, and let it do the heavy lifting. When it finishes, you can unplug the Pi, assemble everything, and the smart display is ready to go. I even specifically chose a weather service that doesn't require an API key, so you don't have to worry about messing around with that either. Assembling is pretty easy. Just put your SD card inside the Raspberry Pi, plug in your Raspberry Pi, connect the right angle adapter to the HDMI cable, then connect that cable between the Raspberry Pi and the display. Connect the micro USB cable to the display's micro USB port. Slide the display into the case, paying attention to which side is up. Slide down the locker so the display stays in place. Tuck the hardware inside the case, being as neat as you prefer, which in my case is not all that much. And then route the power cord to whichever side of the case makes the most sense for where your outlet will be. I have cutouts on both sides to make that doable. This will also slide into slots on here to lock it in place. It's a friction fit. At that point, you have a fully functional DIY smart home display that shows the time and weather with zero interaction required. But If you want more personality, that is where the icon system comes in. The whole design is modular, so you're not locked into one look forever. You can keep things clean and minimal in a kitchen, switch to something playful for a kid's room, or go bold and colorful. The same hardware can feel completely different just by swapping out icon sets and backgrounds, or maybe redoing the case. In addition to the default icons that I'm releasing for free, I created several additional icon packs with matching backgrounds. There's a circuit board style setup inspired by my studio, a kid-friendly option, a graffiti style set, and a few others. If you want access to those and any future designs, you can support this project by becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon. And if you don't want another recurring subscription, I completely understand. They are also available as a one-time purchase, and I have kept that price pretty low. All the links are below. If I were starting this project over, there are a few things I would at least think about doing differently. One idea I keep coming back to is a version that uses a round display instead of a wide one. Something more like a desk-friendly weather clock or gadget instead of an under-cabinet appliance. That would be a completely different form factor and a different project, but the idea is still very, very tempting to me. If that sounds interesting to you, let me know. I also have ideas for where this system could go next. Things like turning it into a simple message board or like an intercom if you have more than one in your home. This feels like a good foundation to build on, and I'm curious what directions people would want to take it. If you decide to build one, I'd genuinely love to see it. Let me know in the comments and share your photos. If you want to see follow-up projects like the round desk clock idea, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye!